and you walk by, I hit you with sexy eyes. You look through me as if I wasn't right. Oh no, you didn't just walk on through. It's time.
Happy Monday, people. As usual, just got back into town earlier this morning. Had some errands to run. I wanted to kind of show you one of the errands that we did. What we ended up getting. We went down and made a trip to Spirit Halloween. And we picked up some stuff. I ended up getting another 1,000-watt fogger. I had 3 of them last year. 2 of them were going on the fritz and burned out halfway through the haunt. So I picked up one of those. I also picked up a couple of 400-watt foggers. One of these is going to be going in my in the well, and then one of the other ones is going to go into another possible prop down the line. Picked up a couple of more of the 48-inch black lights. Picked up a couple of 18-inch black lights. These are going to go in that second mausoleum if I get it built. So we got that. Also picked up some mini flame lights. I have 2 of them already. I use my pirate display. I needed 2 more. Those are going in the mausoleum we're currently working on. And then I also picked up, Scuba suggested these, some Try-Me buttons, which will be hooked up to his boards and a couple of different props. So we've got that. Now the other thing I bought was for the stocks. We picked up a Emperors of Evil costume, and this is going to go on that dummy that's going on the stocks. And I'm not going to put it on today. I'm a little out of it and want to work on the mausoleum a little bit, but we figured this costume with the robe and everything would fit perfectly over that cloth dummy. And it looks like it comes with a pair, yeah, it comes with the gloves and everything, so I can put those over the hands and run the robe up, you know, and attach it underneath the manacles there. So we'll have that, and then it has a mask as well, which I can put on the foam wig head. So that will finish off my stocks. Now, I asked for suggestions on detail work on this. You know, I was thinking about writing maybe condemned or damned or something over it. And I was asking you guys your opinions. And had several different ideas, I guess you could call them. One person said, make it look like someone had been throwing tomatoes or something at it, you know, rotten vegetables splattered across it. Another one said tea stain and wood grain it, you know, and that was a good idea. I also talked to my wife, and she had the idea, you know, it's over there in that garden, that bush of greenery, that's gourds and tomato plants. And we've got, you know, more gourds out there by the shed. We got tomato plants all over the place. She was thinking it'd be neat to get some of that and twine it and wrap the whole thing, you know, drape it and what have you, like the vines have grown up over it. And to be honest, I think I kind of like that idea. So we'll probably end up doing that with the stocks. But later in the week, I'll show you another look at it with the costume and stuff on there. And that prop will be 100% done. Now, on to the mausoleum. Left you with the wall panels, and I went over about having to clean up around the trim and, you know, and trim off, you know, some of the, you know, a little overhang and stuff on it. You know, I still got the roof to do, I got the pillars to do. But, you know, after I shot that, and all weekend long, I had something bugging the heck out of me. I'd forgotten to do something, or I didn't do something right. Finally figured out what I did, and it happens to be a semi-major screw-up. When I was laying this mausoleum out, I wanted it to be 6 feet wide, or 6 feet long across the front and the back, and 4 foot wide. Okay. When I laid out my walls, I made all the panels 2 foot wide. Not even thinking about it. Now, if I put it together as it exists now, it's going to end up being 6 foot long by 4 feet 4 inches wide. I forgot to take into account when you butt these panels together. And I'll see if I can demonstrate with this one here. And sorry for the wonky camera angle. Here, so you're probably getting some good footage there. Now, see, I'm going to be joining them like this. Here, okay? This would be the front panel, this would be a side panel. It's going to stick out some extra inches because I'm overlapping it, which means I needed to make the panels, and I know, wonky camera angle, apologize for all that. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. But anyway, which means the panels that go on the sides are going to throw this whole thing off. The reason why it's going to be a problem is I picked up one sheet of plywood, which I'm going to cut in half and use that for the roof. The plywood is only going to be 4 feet wide. No matter how I turn it, it's only going to be 4 foot wide. If I leave the walls exactly the way I have them now, I'm going to have no nailing surface for the plywood. The plywood is going to be hanging in dead air. There's going to be no backing for it. So what I'm going to end up having to do on these panels is turn this one around, wonky camera angle, I apologize. What I'm actually going to end up having to do is get my saw out and cut the foam and this rail going down all the way off and moving it over on all 4 of my end walls, my side walls, to shrink it up to get the right dimensions so the roof will hit. So that's a project I think I'm going to tackle first before I go on to anything else. Hey there, boys and girls. Hey, it's Monday evening, about 7:45 in the evening. Getting ready to call it quits. Made some progress out here today. First off, I just finished doing the peaks. I know to you it probably looks just about the same. But I went through, got all the glue cleaned up around the edges. Got the joints and the nail heads all puttied, even cleaned up the drips along the inside edge. Got that one done and that one done. Also got the wall panels fixed. Now I wanted to touch, in the last segment I mentioned I made that boo-boo and how I was going to have to fix it, and you had some wonky camera angles, and I am sorry about the wonky camera angles. I'm pulling a phoenix again, I guess you could call it. From what Mr. Softy was saying, I guess that's what it's called. It's called a phoenix. So, but anyway, I did get the panels fixed too. Now, on this side of the panel, this is one I fixed. It's just like it was when I originally made the frame. You know, all the way down to the bottom, it's got its cross members, all 3 of them. What I did was on this side of the panel, I went and cut this piece off that was over here. Cut it off all the way down, and then cut some shorter pieces to fit in here. And now when I put those 2 panels together, marry them up to the front and the back of the walls, it's exactly 4 feet. Which is what I originally needed. I should have done this to begin with. But not as good as Hollywood Hunter would do it. You know, Chris would have measured twice, checked his angles, oiled his saw, you know, brushed off the table, gone in, put on a nice clean suit, made 1 cut, and had it perfect the first time. You know how Christopher is. But for me, it works. A little bit more extra work and a little extra labor, but it's fixed. They're done. Now, tomorrow, I am not sure. I am leaning more toward the inside of the walls. I do have some more foam. I've got a couple of pieces over there that I can use. I need to make some panels to cover the inside of the walls, both on the side walls and the back walls and stuff, because I don't want them looking in and seeing the framework, so I'm going to cover them with foam. I'm not going to carve a brick pattern into it. It's just going to be smooth walls, and I'll probably go over and heat treat them and stuff to give them a little bit more of an aged look, you know, so it looks more like aged plaster. I do have some ornamentation that's going to be going inside from another prop I'm recycling. I'll get into more about that tomorrow when I get into that part. So I think I'm probably going to get the inside walls done tomorrow. That way I can get all my foam off the patio. My landlord is kind of screaming the patio is a Halloween mess at the moment. So, Hey everybody, been out here for a while. I haven't done anything quite on the Mausoleum yet. Getting ready to, though. I've got to bring in my foam board that I've got left, and I'm going to cut another sheet to go across on the inside. And you'll see why later down. Well, basic reasoning is when people look in the Mausoleum, I don't want them looking in and seeing this. So I'm going to put another skin of foam board over the top of this, and then age it kind of like what I did with the peaks. And then I have some ornamentation that's going to go set on it too. So we got that. But what we've been working on is the stocks. And as you see, I've got them plugged in, going through their testing mode. Picked up a costume, 39 bucks, came with the mask, called the Emperor of Evil. And I thought it just fit perfectly. Now what we ended up doing is I put the robe on them, on the back to hide the dummy. The feet, we're going to either wrap with some leather, you know, to make them look like boots, or I just might leave them like that and then build up hay over it so people can't even see the feet. But when we got up here, the arms for the robe were longer than the arms on the dummy, so I just cut the cloth on the robe off, came across this side, took the cuff off for the manacles and slid the sleeve on over the tube and put it on and draped it down over the thing, and it hides, pretty much hides the mechanism for the hands. Anyway, so we got that, and then for the mask, there we go, get you a little bit further away, there's the mask. Now the one thing I am going to kind of do, I think, and I'll do it when we put it out in the haunt, is the eye holes. You can see the white, and you can kind of see it when it's out front, and then the chin kind of shows from an angle too, and it's white. So I'll get some black paint out and I'll go over those surfaces and black them in so they can't be seen. But anyway, there we go. All finished. Hands going up and down. I think that prop turned out really good. Wife and I mentioned it in an earlier segment, wife and I talked, and we're going to take some vines and stuff and kind of drape up and over the stocks and wrap it around the pole. I think that's the way we're going to end up going with that, and that's all stuff that gets done once it's out in the haunt. The rusting technique I did on this is really starting to show up good on here and on the cuffs, so I'm happy. It came out looking nice, and it wasn't that long of a project really. Hey people, yeah, I know I'm dripping. A little hot in here. It's about 8 o'clock at night, Tuesday night. SOP, I'm late. I know I'm late. I'm getting ready to call quits and head in now. But I wanted to get caught up on some things. Didn't quite get as far as I wanted to get. Got all the panels. That's the walls for the inside of the panels. All mounted, heat treated, cut size, they're all done. Now I did not glue these panels on, they're just being held on by the screws, that's it. I want to be able to remove these panels, okay? Those are my sidewalls there. Got my peaks over there. I got the two panels there, which are for the front door. Those have no back walls or no inside skinning to them. Reason being, no one's ever going to see the back side of those, so it doesn't matter. This here is the back wall, okay? Now, if you remember correctly, last couple of years I've had a small square crypt out in my haunt that I had that spirit ghost in. You know, it rises up, makes a wooing noise, wiggles back and forth and settles back down. Decided we were going to get rid of it. Instead of throwing it out though, I saved it. I'm recycling it. There it is, the front part of it there. And we're going to use it for decoration. I've got it set so it sits about 10 inches above the height of that crypt that's going in here. And I'm actually going to inlay it, which means I've got it marked out on the foam, and tomorrow I got to come in here and cut out a hole. That way, when this puts in, because this is 2-inch foam, this foam's 1 inch, it's only going to stick out about 1 inch, and I'll go through and around the edges and stuff off on it. So tomorrow, I got to get in and cut the hole on that. Now on the two side walls, I'm using the two sides of that crypt. I carved in some demon faces. One there and one there that were on the sides of that old crypt. I'm going to mount those in the center of the side walls. Same thing, I'll lay out the panels like I got these laid out. And, you know, cut a hole for them and, you know, recess them in. These will not be, you know, like the panels are not going to be permanently mounted. They, you know, everything's made to come off on the inside. So, everything will be painted pretty much the same shape. And I'll do some new detail work on the faces and stuff too. And on the lettering. So we got that going on. Another thing I did was on the back walls. You'll notice my foam does not go all the way over the edge. That is of design. Reason being is those walls butt up against this wall. So I'll have a sidewall going up here. If I put the foam on it and everything, then it makes it too wide. And I have the same problem I had when I had to go through and fix those. The roof won't fit. So I cut the foam a little shy. Also, when I was putting these foam pieces on, I labeled the walls. I also labeled the back of each panel, so I know which panel goes to which wall. Good morning, people. Happy Wednesday. Been out here for a little bit. Yesterday, I left you with getting the skins on, and I explained the process on that, and I left with doing the inlays. I had to get the inlays done on the back wall and the side walls. And I've been out here working a little bit. I do not have the walls screwed together or anything. They're just kind of laying there, so you're seeing some gaps and cracks and stuff. But it allowed me to cut out for my inlay, and that's the one that goes on the back of the back wall, and it reads, "Here lies Kimberly. Elder Watson knew her well. May her spirit soar." And I'm going to have that monster in the crypt prop underneath of it. So we got that inlaid. I went through, trimmed this down a bit. It was a lot wider originally. Needs to be repainted. I rounded the edges off, and I cut a hole out. And it fits in there tightly enough. I will not need to use any screws. I can just kind of push it in, and it should just stay in there. And then, like I was explaining last night also, I'm going to get some wrought iron hooks out here, and I have some candles that'll be going on here too, and you'll see that. Probably Halloween. I don't know if I'll get far enough on that this year, or, you know, before Halloween. Hey people, it's going on about 5:30. I am going to be pulling a late nighter out here tonight. So you'll already have your apology by the time you see this whole stuff, but sorry, I'm going to be late to Tech Talk tonight. I've been pushing it this week, and I was pushing it a little bit last week. I'm trying to get to the point to where I can get this stuff into paint and start getting the painting done, because that's going to take a while to get this thing painted. Went over this morning, got my plaques and stuff in the, you know, inlaid into the skins, the inside of the thing. Got everything torn down. I got my wall panels, I got my skin panels from the inside, the two peaks, as well as the skins that go on those on the inside. Everything over there is now officially ready for paint. That leaves doing the roof and doing the two half pillars. I'm currently working on doing the roof panels, and I've gotten one finished so far. And there it is. And I know it probably looks like a bunch of bricks right now. It's a lot of work left to do on that. You know, paint, but it's paint-wise, so that's good. Now, what I am doing, and I'm actually borrowing the idea from the Flesh of God, aka God's Flesh, aka Mark. He did a mausoleum, and he used this material here, Reflecto Coro Foam Ribbed Sill Sealer. It's a foam insulation you get in a roll. And what I'm basically doing is I cut out lengths of it, the width of my roof, which is 4 foot. And then I just simply figured out how big I wanted my tabs, you know, and then just laid those out, gave them a cut part way up the sheet, and attached them to the board with some little bit of glue and some staples. So you know, that it's basically it. He did his in such a way that it looked like terracotta tile. I'm trying to make it look kind of like slate, and it looks more like asphalt shingles. The tabs aren't big enough, but hey, I'll take what I can get out of this. So but anyway, that's the project now. I've got one panel done. Took about an hour and a half to 2 hours to do it. Hour and a half. So I've got another one I gotta do. I'm gonna definitely get this one done tonight, and then I'm hoping to get started on that corrugated sheeting over there too. That's what I'm gonna be using for the pillars, and you know, at least get started on it so I can finish those tomorrow morning, and then spend the rest of the day tomorrow spraying, which won't take all that long probably. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. Good morning, people. It's Thursday. This is gonna be the last day of the build for this week. Yesterday I kind of ran you through, you know, I got all the walls, you know, done and painted. I also got both roof panels finished, and they're both sitting there. Last thing I need to assemble for this mausoleum are the pillars. I'm doing 2 4-foot tall pillars. In fact, they'll be a little bit over 4 foot by the time I'm done with them. Not by much. Once the pillars are made, I picked up 2 of these flame lights, and those are going to be sitting on top of each of the pillars. That's going to be my decoration for the pillars. But I went down and bought some of the plastic corrugated roofing material. It's 2 foot wide by 8 foot long, and I basically just cut it into half. I gotta get my framework made up for to attach it and stuff, so that's what I'm going to be working on today. Hoping, or what I am shooting for, is to get the pillars done early enough in the day to where I could come back through, get my sprayer out, and get base coat on everything. That way when I get back into town next week, I can sit down and start doing the detail work, and maybe get this thing knocked out and finished next week. At least that's what I am shooting for. Whether it's going to happen or not, I don't know. But we will find out. I guarantee you this right now, though, it ain't going to happen unless I put this camera down and get to work. Hey guys, as I said in the last segment, I was going to do a couple of short segments here on the construction of the pillars. I started out making a skeleton for it. Just 8 minutes, about almost 2 foot long, 2x2s with some 1x12 I bought that I cut down into a circle. Got them all nailed together for a skeletal structure to attach that. And I've gotten one done. Real simple to do, well, semi-simple to do. And I have a gap in the back, which is fine. That way, when I put those mini flame lights on there, I can notch it out back here and have my cord run down inside the pillar and out the bottom. You know, it's not draped over the side, what have you. And it also allows me access in there if I want to put a light in there, so, you know, the panels will glow. You know, I can do that down the lane, or, you know, do other things in there as well. But, you know, that's the start of the basic column. Now, once I get both of my columns to this stage, I'm going to get some foam out. I got to make a cap to go over the top of it, maybe a little bit of detail work, but you know, that's down the line. But it's not that hard really to do this. It's pretty straightforward. And what I ended up doing is I bought a plank of 1x12. It was 8 foot long by 1x12. And to get my circles, I ended up bringing out 2 plates out of the house. The wife wasn't too happy about it. A smaller one and a larger one. And I basically sat here with this thing loose because I knew I wanted a gap in the back, and I wrapped this sheet around the plate to see how big of a gap I was going to have, and then went with the appropriate size plate to draw my circles. The bigger plate, and I would have had a gap, you know, from about here to here, and it was too big of a gap. I wanted a smaller gap in the back. So I ended up going with a smaller plate. You know, that's kind of how I, you know, figured out my circles. Now, if this was going to be something to where the pillars were going to be viewed, you know, from both sides, I would have used a smaller plate yet, you know, to make a smaller circle so these pieces came together. You know, and there was no gap here. But since it's not going to be seen from the back side, it doesn't matter. Okay, columns are done. I got a couple of drips here and there as they dry. I need to clean off of them, but other than that, they're ready for paint. But get the lights turned on here. That's pretty much the idea I had with those pots. I just rounded out a hole in the top where I put my mountain screw at, so it'll sit up there. And like I said, I gotta get the drips off. Got a few there I need to clean off. But anyway, these will be sitting on either side of the door of the mausoleum. Now with these finished, the mausoleum build is officially done. Now I go into the next step. I got 2 steps left. I got to get the base paint on them, get everything base painted, and then I got to go back through and do the detail painting. I'm going to get the base coats on probably today. I'm going to pull a late nighter. Might even get started a little bit on some of the detail work. But for all intents and purposes, the mausoleum will be finished next week. So we are getting there. Almost got another one done. And this is turning out better than I thought it was going to, at least so far. Then again, I haven't tried putting the damn thing together yet either. So, hey guys, it's going on about 10 o'clock at night. I've been out here since about 9:30 this morning. So about 12.5-hour day. From the clips you saw earlier, you know, I got the pillars done and finished off the basic construction on the mausoleum earlier today. Spent the rest of the day base coating. I got both the roof panels done. I got the outside of the walls all done. Behind the tarp here, I've got the inside walls done. I have them tarped because I didn't want to get the different colors on top of those. Even got the plaques done. The peaks are done. The pillars are done. Do have some touch-up here and there to do on them. I just noticed the spot where I rubbed up against it apparently and rubbed it off. And Goth Gloom, Don and Mary, if you're watching this, how much do you charge for your shirts? I would like to buy one from you. I had a wee bit of an accident with your shirt today. I was wearing your shirt out here in the shop, and not sure what the hell caused it, but my big spray gun I was using for the walls blew up on me. I got paint all over your shirt. Yours was the last one I had been waiting for. So I was figuring, well, see, buy me one. So I was curious, how much do you charge for your shirts? So anyway, all in all, you know, the project turned out fairly good. Like I said, there are some minor touch-ups. With the base coats done, I head out of town tomorrow for work. Won't be back till Monday. So everything will have a good chance of, or a good, you know, time for drying. They'll be in here all weekend. And it's liable to be in between around 85, 90 degrees in here while I'm gone, and the things shut up. So things should dry real good. That means next week on the schedule we will be doing the fine-tuning. I've got to do the grout lines and a little bit of detail up on the trim. I got to do some touch-ups and aging on the pillars, and you know, there's a lot of little stuff to do. That's going to be the emphasis next week, is trying to get that knocked out. I'm hoping to have this project done by the end of next week, so then I can get moved on to the next thing. So with that, this little vlog is probably going to be fairly long, so I'm going to say my goodbye. Say stay spooky out there, and we will see you guys when we see you.